In 2019, a delivery driver in North Carolina named Mike Neal parked his 2008 Toyota Tacoma with 1.6 million miles on the odometer. Its core mechanical components were still original. 9 years before that, an oil field worker named Victor Shepard drove his 2007 Toyota Tundra past 1 million miles on the factory engine and transmission, putting on roughly 125,000 miles a year. These aren't marketing claims. They're documented, individually verified trucks. What separates them from the pickups that die at 150,000 miles isn't luck. It's specific engineering choices. Engine tuning, cooling capacity, drivetrain design that either exist in a truck or don't. I pulled iSeeCars' 2025 study of 400 million vehicles to rank the 10 trucks statistically most likely to get you there, then checked which ones have a real high mileage story behind them. Some of the results will surprise you. Number 10. The Chevrolet Silverado 2500 HD. It has a 16% chance of reaching 250,000 miles, according to iSeeCars, roughly a coin flip above the 13% average for all trucks. Starting at $48,695, it's GM's mid-tier heavy-duty entry, and the optional Duramax turbo diesel is what pulls its odds above average. The gas V8 works fine for towing under 10,000 pounds and daily driving. But if longevity is the actual goal here rather than sticker price, the diesel option is the one worth paying for. Interior quality has improved a lot on recent model years too, with soft touch materials and heated leather showing up even outside the top trims. Buy the wrong engine on this truck though, and you're effectively paying heavy-duty money for a Silverado 1500's lifespan with worse fuel economy along the way. If you want the full breakdown on which specific engine and transmission combos to avoid across every truck on this list, I'll be covering that in a follow-up video soon. That's exactly the kind of thing I put out every week, based on real fact-checked data instead of recycled forum claims. Subscribing means you don't miss it. Number 9. The Ram 2500. A 17.3% chance at 250,000 miles, starting around $45,995. For the gas 6.4-liter Hemi 5.8, with the 6.7-liter Cummins-based turbo diesel available for roughly $12,595 more. The diesel is rated at 1,075 pound-feet of torque, and that low-stress, low-RPM operation under heavy loads is a big part of why Ram's heavy-duty diesels consistently outlast their gas counterparts in the used market. Ram also leans harder into cabin comfort than its rivals in this segment, with an available 14.5-inch touchscreen and air suspension that takes the edge off long tow days. None of that comfort affects engine life directly, but a truck that's pleasant to drive tends to get used and maintained the way it's supposed to be instead of parked and neglected. If you're cross-shopping this segment on longevity alone, the diesel upcharge is not the place to cut corners. Number 8. The Chevrolet Silverado 3500 HD. Starting at $49,895, with a 17.4% shot at the $250,000 mark. This is the one-ton dually version of the 2500 HD, and it shares the same Duramax diesel option and a lot of the same parts bin. The extra frame reinforcement and axle capacity built for towing loads over 30,000 pounds happen to be the same qualities that keep the drivetrain from being overworked in ordinary daily use. That's a pattern worth remembering across this whole list. A truck engineered to handle abuse without strain tends to last longer under completely normal driving too, not just under a trailer hitch. Resale on the 3500 HD has traditionally lagged a step behind the F350 in this segment, which can actually work in a buyer's favor if you're shopping used and care more about the drivetrain than the badge. Number 7. The Ford F350 Super Duty. Starting at $50,065, with an 18.3% chance at 250,000 miles this year. That number has moved around a lot. The F350 was actually ranked number 1 in the 2023 iSeeCars study with a 49.1% chance, before falling to 6th in 2024 and 7th here in 2025. Same truck, same methodology, different sample year, very different result. That's worth remembering anytime someone quotes you a single-year most reliable truck statistic, as if it's a permanent fact instead of a snapshot. The 6.7-liter Power Stroke diesel underneath it is still the engine responsible for its reputation, and it remains one of the most towed, tested, and fleet-proven diesels on the road today. regardless of where it lands in any given year's ranking. Number 6, the Ford F-250 Super Duty. An 18.6% chance at 250,000 miles, starting at $48,770. It runs the same 6.7-liter Power-Stroke diesel as its bigger F-350 sibling, producing 475 horsepower and 1,050 pound-feet of torque, just with less frame reinforcement and lower axle capacity. If you don't actually need dually level towing numbers or an 8,000-pound payload rating, this is the more efficient way to get the same proven engine underneath you without paying for capacity you'll spend most of the truck's life never using. It's also a truck that shows up constantly in used commercial listings, which, as we've already covered, tends to be a good sign for maintenance history rather than a warning sign. Here's the pattern worth noticing at the halfway point of this list. Every truck so far shares one thing in common. The engines that go the distance are diesel or at minimum diesel optional. Gas engines in this segment aren't bad engines. They're just working harder per mile under load, and that extra strain shows up on the odometer 20 years down the road. Number 5. The GMC Sierra 2500 HD, starting at $49,795 with a 22% chance at 250,000 miles. Meaningfully ahead of its Silverado 2500 HD twin, despite sharing the same platform, the same optional Duramax diesel, and most of the same underlying components. The gap likely comes down to trim mix and how these specific trucks tend to get used and maintained over their lifespan, rather than anything mechanically different between the badges, since GM builds both off the same line with the same parts bin and the same drivetrain choices. If you're deciding between the two purely on longevity odds, the data gives a slight edge to the GMC, though I wouldn't call it a decisive one. Number 4. The Ford F450 Super Duty. Starting at $62,330 with a 28.5% chance at 250,000 miles, more than double the truck segment average. Its 6.7-liter Power-Stroke diesel is tuned up to 475 horsepower and rated for the heaviest commercial-grade towing in the entire Super Duty lineup. This is largely a fleet and commercial spec truck rather than a personal daily driver, which means a lot of the used examples on the market were maintained on a strict fleet schedule instead of being neglected the way a private truck sometimes is. A real measurable factor in why it consistently outperforms lighter-duty trucks that see more casual ownership. It's a more expensive truck to buy going in, but the odds here reflect actual fleet-grade upkeep, not just bigger metal. Number 3. The Ram 3500. The statistical leader in this entire segment 2 years running, 39.7% this year, 42.6% in 2024, more than triple the overall truck segment average of 13%. Starting at $49,580, it runs the same 6.7-liter Cummins-based diesel option as the Ram 2500, rated up to 1,075 pound-feet, paired with an 8-speed automatic transmission across the whole heavy-duty lineup. If you're shopping this segment purely on the statistical odds of reaching 250,000 miles, this is the number to beat. And it's been the number to beat for 2 consecutive years of iSeeCars data, not just a single good sample year. Now, the 2 trucks that actually earned this video's title. Number 2. The Toyota Tundra. Its second-generation V8, built from 2007 through 2021, is the platform underneath Victor Shepard's 1 million-mile truck. Original engine, original transmission, 9 years of daily oil field use, with a reported reverse gear failure at 776,000 miles as the only real issue outside routine maintenance. If that story is what convinced you to click on this video, second-generation used Tundras are specifically the ones worth hunting for, not the newer trucks currently on dealer lots. The current twin-turbo V6 in the 2022 and later Tundra starts at $43,455. But it's simply too recent a design change to have real long-term high-mileage data behind it yet. So treat any million-mile claims about the new generation as unproven until the odometers catch up. Before the final truck. I go through documented cases like these every week, not recycled clickbait numbers pulled from a forum thread. If a truck's mileage claim can't be traced back to a named owner or a real sourced study, it doesn't make it into one of these countdowns. Subscribing is how you keep seeing the ones that actually check out. Number 1. The Toyota Tacoma. a 25.3% chance at 250,000 miles by iSeeCars numbers alone, which is already well above the truck segment average. But the real reason it tops this list is Mike Neal's 2008 model. 1.6 million miles, the highest mileage pickup truck on record, with its core mechanical components still intact after all of it. New Tacomas start at $32,545, making this the cheapest truck on the entire list by a wide margin. And Toyota's mid-size trucks consistently outlast full-size light-duty competitors in every longevity study I could find, even without the diesel torque advantage that carries most of the trucks higher up this list. Drive safe.